Hey guys, we're back with another episode. I guess it's an episode of Intimate Sessions with Indie Love. And this time I have Miss Casey Mills. I would like to welcome you to Indie Love ATL Virtual 2021. Yeah, that's what it is.
Hey, hey.
That's a mouthful. Thank you for joining me for a little bit to have a little conversation about your writing career and how it got started, and all those good, wonderful things. Um,
Well,
let's
thank you so much for having me.
Very welcome, very welcome. So let's dive right in. You are Casey Mills,
That do
and
be.
you are an author of what genre would you say you write up under?
I kind of teeter back and forth between urban and romance, so I usually fall somewhere right there in the middle
Okay. Do you have a favorite?
of the two.
Yes.
Um, I can't really say that I do because my moniker is craft and romance with an edge. So I do have the urban elements in my books, but they
Mhm.
kind of we are woven into the background. But all of my stories basically focus on the relationship. So I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I'd probably lean more towards the romance part of it.
Okay, okay. And how many books have you crafted? No, when did you start writing? What was your, I don't want to say, I want to say journey, but how did you start writing? What drew you into being an author?
So oddly enough, I wasn't one of those with the traditional path. I wasn't someone that was like, oh, I want to grow up, I want to write books, I'm going to do this. I've always written poetry, short stories, things of that nature, even as a kid. But my journey for writing actually came from my daughter because we lived in a small town that was predominantly white. And so I have this young, beautiful Black queen that doesn't have any representation of high school life and things of that nature from her perspective. So I wrote a
Okay.
book for her about freshman year, sophomore year. That was the first time I actually wrote and completed a book. And so once I did that, I was like, well, heck, I did that pretty easily. What else can I do? And at the time, I was reading urban fiction novels and saw the submission information in the back of the book. And I was like, I'm going to do that. So I literally wrote a book. It took me about a month. I was writing it at work. I hope they don't see this. And I submitted it and sent it in, and that's just how it kicked off. And from then on, I told my husband I'm going to quit my job, and I thought we were going to get divorced. So but he's so supportive. He believed in me. We've been together 26 years, and so he's just like, okay, well, if this doesn't work, then you have to go get another job. And I was determined to make it work, and it worked.
That is so interesting. You are, and I guess I should probably make that a trivia question, but I won't. You're the third person to say they were reading a book and got to the end and saw where they could submit their works, which is
Right.
really, really interesting. I mean, I see that all the time in the back of books, and I just be like, oh, okay, go, go on. I'm not go on, but it's like, okay, I don't know if I'm, want to do that, but
Right.
that is a great way to get in. So with that being said, was that did you ended up signing with the publisher
I
when you put
did.
that out? Okay.
Yeah, I did. So I've only ever had one publisher. I started writing in July of 2015.
Okay.
And I submitted my book, got the call, and they were basically like, "Hey, you're good at this. Do you want to sign? And we can get you out there." And so I went with it, and it had its ups and downs. So some good, some bad. I just can't erase the history because it made me who I am. And
Okay.
it taught me so many things because of the struggle and the journey. So, I mean, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. But yeah, so
Okay.
that's how I started.
Okay. And as a result of that, then you became a publisher, right?
I did. And
Okay.
part of me becoming a publisher was because The experience I had with the publisher, not that it was good or bad, it was just I had come from the corporate world. I had always worked in corporate, so I was very independent as an author.
Okay.
And working corporate jobs and things of that nature, you tend to be problem solvers. And so with writing, it was the same thing for me. So I didn't have a lot of hand holding
Hmm.
with my journey as a publisher, but that sent me down a lot of wrong paths. And
Okay.
it could have been a lot easier. So for me, the reason why I wanted to start publishing is because I struggled so much with certain things. I said, hey, let me make this easier for some people.
Okay.
And, it's one of those things where just because you can play ball doesn't mean you can be a coach. But
Hmm.
when I got my first couple of authors and realized that they were following the same blueprint I had and becoming successful, I was like, okay, this works. So it was
Okay.
one of those deals.
Okay. Okay. So how now are you are completely independent at this point though,
I
right?
am, yes, completely independent. Going on 2 years now.
Okay. And how many books do you have under your belt at this point?
Oh gosh. This is terrible, but I'm gonna say somewhere between maybe 120,
Wow.
130. That would be, that's during the 3-book series phase and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I've written that many books.
Okay.
When I first came out, it was one of those things where I didn't understand the system.
Hmm.
And so I had these ideas in my head. So I was literally writing like a book a week kind of deal. The ideas were there. It flowed for me. It just worked. And it's one of those crazy things, which I know is ordained. So it worked for me.
Hmm.
And I didn't know the system that people are, you don't put books out back to back like that. So I'm writing, turn it in, write and turn it in. It's one of those things. And yeah, it's good and it's bad. But it's one of those things where it's what I was meant to do. So it wasn't work. I loved crafting and creating. So it just came naturally.
Yeah, okay, okay. So with that being said, I've asked everybody this doggone question, but I want to know, um, do you enjoy writing standalones or series?
Ooh, the dreaded
Or do you
question.
have a preference?
The story kind of writes itself. Let me just say that. So some stories have to be series and some of them have to be standalones because you can get it all out and be done. If you continue going, it's going to affect the outcome of the story. So for me personally, just because the creative ideas right when I'm in the middle of a story is when the next one comes. So I prefer standalones because I can be done and move on to something else. But it doesn't always work out like that. Like I said, the story kind of writes itself. That's such a huge debate for people. And it's funny to me that, it's an issue or a preference sometimes.
Well, let me tell you this. I'm in a book club. I have a book club. Indie Love has a book club, and there's about 7 of us. Maybe it's gonna be probably going up to 10 real soon. And we read Lost in Love's Abyss, and
Okay.
that's always a question for us. How many books is it?
Right,
Because
right,
we read every month, we meet every month. So it's like you don't really want to pick a series unless we've all read it,
right.
the previous book, and then we're ready to dive into the second one, and we could talk about um, all of them together. So that's always a question. So that always makes me wonder, how does the author feel about a standalone or a series? I mean, I love a good series. And I don't necessarily have to wait for them all to be out because there's certain authors I ain't waiting. And then there's other authors I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, I wish it would hurry up and come. And then I love it when I can find one and they all out and I can just go boop, 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 1, 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes it I think it makes it easier for the reader. And then also we're not in your inbox like, really?
Where's the book?
Right.
I'm a
I'm not
reader
one of
also.
those people. I'm not one of them people, but I know some people that it's like they need to hurry up. And I'm like, they got jobs. They got
Yeah.
stuff going
You
on.
know, oddly enough, I'm a reader too, so I understand that logic. But because I'm an author, I employ the patience. So there's a lot of times I really want to just reach out to people, and be like, hey, so I know you just dropped this, but where's the other part? But I get it.
Right.
And I also understand the new trend of people being impatient, and so they wait for the entire series to be done or just stick to standalones. I get it on all sides and I understand it. So it just is what it is. But
Now,
that's the good thing though.
uh-huh. Are any of your books novellas?
I have written one novella I turned into a complete standalone. So I think I only have, well, and see, that's the thing with me. I write, my books are anywhere from 80 to 90K, even in a series. So a novella for me, basically, I did a series, the Luke brothers. They were supposed to be novellas, which should have,
Mhm.
my goal was 20K for each. They ended up being, I think, 60, 70K. So
Mhm.
those were technically novellas, but not really
Mhm.
by our standards. So I'm very long winded with my writing because I'm detailed and I'm big on character and story development. So I can't
Right.
just throw stuff at you. I'm just not good at it. Now, some of my favorite authors do it, and I'm just like, God, how do you do that? I want to do that. I just can't. I'm not good
You
at
sound
it.
like somebody else we know, and it's like when she says to me, "Oh, I'm thinking of," no, you're not. No, you're
We
not.
try. Look, we try.
Like you don't even have it in you to do that. I'm not even gonna. I'm not even listening.
Yeah, but it all boils down to style of writing as well. Because now there are some authors that have fast-paced books. I absolutely love them,
Mm-hmm.
but I just can't write a fast-paced book. I have tried; it just does not work. I'm not successful at it. There are some authors who, they do it and they're great at it, but I just can't do it. And that comes into line with novellas as well. I just like, I'm like, oh, well, they need to know this, or I need to put this, and this helps them understand why they're doing this. And by the time I'm done, it's, 60,000 words. So I
Then
try.
there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I'm not a big novella fan because I love a long story. I love to know, I'm nosy. I'm just
Yeah.
nosy and I want to know the details. And so even when a series is over, if you throw those characters into the next book and I just happen to know that, oh yeah, they had a baby now, or just little
Yeah.
details, that's just enough to keep me like, okay, I remember them and I'm happy with, um all of that. So, well, I've asked everybody else. I might as well ask you: do you have a tribe? I keep saying a tribe, or a group of women or authors? I keep saying women, but men are authors too. That you gel with, you jive with, you are able to bounce ideas off of, or they read your work, or they motivate you to keep writing. But it sounds like you don't need that.
Yeah. And only because I've been burned by so many different people that I kind of stay to myself a lot. And I've just recently started reaching out to people and dealing with some. There are some people that are close knit that are in my circle. And I'm
Mhm.
also not a communicator. I'm horrible at communicating. The running joke from my authors used to be if they text me, they had to wait 5 to 7 business days for me to get back. I'm a man on an island. I just literally am horrible at communicating. So that's part of it. But I just, there are several authors I admire. I reach out to them. We might have
Mhm.
communication and, I might ask them for things of that nature. And a lot of people reach out to me and I'm an open book if you reach out to me, but I just don't have that close knit circle of authors per se that
Mhm.
I communicate with on a regular basis, but only just because it just doesn't happen, not because I'm not open to it or whatever, but literally I write 8 to 9 hours a day. And
Okay.
then then I have my husband and my kids and things of that nature. So I don't have a lot of time is part of it too, but
Mhm.
I'm one of those weird ones. I'm also not very I'm the most sociable recluse you'll ever meet.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Okay, so I know this is probably going to be a really hard question with so many books under your belt. Um, what was your most difficult series or standalone to write?
Oh gosh. Um, I
Well, you
I
felt like, oh, this book gave me these characters gave me a headache, and I'll be done. I'll be glad when I'm done with them.
all of them really, and that's It sounds so terrible, but all of them really. No, okay. So probably for me, those that have more of an urban element to them. And
Okay.
because my mind is so weird to the fact that I stuff has to make sense for me. So I can't just tell you that someone went and did this and this happened and it I have to lead up to it and all the details and I do the research and stuff has to make sense. So the urban books, because I'm not urban, I'm basically, I don't know anything about it. I married urban. I married a thug. So I get all of that stuff from him. So like literally, I'm like, so really, they do that, and that kind of thing. So for me, probably the most difficult are for me are those that have that urban element because I have to do so much research, and
Okay.
there's so many plot twists and things of that nature. Whereas the romance contemporary side, it's just basically building those connections, bonds, and relationships. That stuff's easy because it's life, but the urban elements are and in order for it not to be repetitious and sound like everything else you've read, you really have to think about how to make these stories unique. So
Mm-hmm.
those are probably my most difficult.
Okay. Okay. I love a good urban. I said this early in one of the other interviews that I'm a romance, contemporary romance, um, urban romance, but all things black on black love.
Yeah.
Um, there's only one person that's gotten me to read paranormal, and she's the only one. I'm not into paranormal. And this is no offense on nobody who's written paranormal, but
Right.
and it probably don't even. The best way I could say it is growing up in a Christian household,
Hmm.
not where it's beat into you and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Believe in spirit, so I'd be scared. Like,
No, I get it. Yeah.
I'm not, it's got to be, you know. So, yeah, I'm not into any of that, but I just love reading about black love.
Yeah.
That's the best. And then you throw a BBW in there too. You got me, you really got me going in. So, okay, well then do you have a favorite series or a favorite character that um
Um,
we all have these book bays that we just love to death.
yeah, I don't, it's that, this is horrible, but my memory is horrible. When I say horrible, when I go to my reading group, sometimes they'll be in there posting screenshots from a book or whatever. It's the
Mhm.
series I just wrote 2 months ago. And I'm reading, I'm like, damn, that's good. and then I get to the name, I'm like, oh, that's my book. So with that being said, I remember certain impactful things about my books, but because I've written so many, if I don't let it go and move on to the next,
It'll stay with.
then right.
Okay.
So there are some that stand out just because of what was going on when I was writing them, kind of deal.
Okay.
But truthfully, probably my very first series is my favorite, and only because it was so raw and it was just so unbiased to the industry. I wasn't in that space yet where I was second guessing my talent, my creativity, because it was my first time out the gate. So I
Mhm.
just wrote it and I felt like it was amazing and I put it out there.
Okay.
And so that's why it's my favorite. But, as you get into the industry, you start to hear things and you read reviews and, start second guessing yourself. So no matter how amazing you may believe that you are, there are those moments where you are sitting like, is this going to be good enough, or is this person going to like it, and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And once you get in that space, it's really hard to just 100% go hard with what you write and just be confident about it. So with
Mhm.
my first series, I didn't have that. I didn't know a damn thing about it. I just wrote it, put it out there, and it was just amazing to me. And I still to this day feel that way because it was not tainted by anyone's opinions.
Right. Okay. So then with that said, reviews. How do you feel about reviews? Do they I understand because I'm not gonna say that. They piss me off, and I will go on a tangent every now and then about if you don't like it, just to me, I hate reviews that go into and people that follow me know this, that will say, well, I didn't like that this character did so and so and so, so I'm giving it 3 stars. That ain't got to
Right.
do with the writing of it. If you don't like it, you don't care for it. If it's something that I don't like, I'm not gonna write a review, period. I just
Yeah.
don't see the
I
point.
agree. So here's how I feel about that. Now, everyone is entitled to their opinion. I feel like most people don't understand how to write a review. So I have gotten reviews so far-fetched sometimes and so just completely crazy. Like, your character wore all red and I don't like red, so I'm going to give you a 1-star review. That
See,
was
that
abuse
kind of
of
stuff right
reviews,
there.
you know? Right.
Right.
So, but a review, I've read books that are, I was just having this conversation, character development, story development, everything made sense. Timelines were great, but I just did not connect with the characters. So I didn't like the story. But it
Mm,
was a well put together story. It just wasn't for me.
right.
So, that to me, I could have written a review about that, but I wouldn't have given like a 1-star, 2-star, anything like that because it was a well
Written.
developed
Right.
story. It
Right.
just wasn't something I preferred. So my love hate with reviews are, I don't think that people really understand how to write a review because it's not
Mhm.
necessarily about your personal feelings when it comes to a well developed story. It is, but it isn't. So you're not going to connect with every story. You're not going to love every character, situation, and things of that nature. But if I read a review and they're like, this was a phenomenal story, they wrote it, everything lined up, but I just didn't like the character, so 1 star, I'm like, you don't understand the purpose of writing a review. So I have a
Right.
love hate thing with it as far as reviews. Now, some people write reviews and I've dropped the ball with some of the stuff in the story. Oh, he was 32 in this chapter and 29. Those are things that I need to pay attention to. I need to pay more attention. Editing needs to pay attention. But
Right.
if you just don't like something about, or those reviews where I've read just about every one of your books, and I hate that you blah, 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 blah. After the
Right.
second book, my writing style. Don't keep
Right.
reading them. They're not for
Oh,
you. So
yeah.
those are things kind of where I stand on reviews. But truthfully, I don't take them too serious. When I first read them, I'm in that mode where I'm cussing in my house and I'm like, I'm about to pull up. But then I yell, scream, get it out my system and keep going because, of course, it's your baby. You're going to be affected by what people say, but you have to have a thick skin or you won't survive. And that just is what it is.
All right. So, what can we look forward to from Casey Mills in the future?
You know, I'm just going to continue to write. I have a lot of things that I'm working on with scripts now. Soon as all of my actors start getting their life together and come back, we're going to finish the film I'm working on. I'm trying to transition I'll always write because it's just my love. I cannot, if I'm not writing, I don't feel balanced. It's to
Okay.
that point with me. I feel off. So just more stories, more romance with an edge. You'll see me on streaming outlets, hopefully with my series and things of that nature to come. I'm claiming it. So
Yes.
that's what's coming up. Those kind of things. I have a few new authors. I'm working to develop them and help them get their craft together so they can go out into the world and create their independence. But that's pretty much it. I'm just doing me.
Okay. Okay. Any what is the one a word of advice that you would give to a new author?
Oh, geez. The most important thing is that you have to be your biggest advocate because it's so crazy out there, and you have to believe in you regardless, and have a thick skin and never stop believing in your ability because people will make you second guess everything about your whole entire life. But if you believe in you and you believe in your craft and your talent, then you will be okay. And oddly enough, even though this is something I don't do with authors, I do have a circle. I have a tribe of people who are
Mhm.
there for me. Get a solid tribe of people who are going to tell you when you're right, when you're wrong, when it's good, when it's bad, because you don't want yes men in your life. And if that's what you have surrounding you, you won't make it. So you need people who are going to be real with you. But ultimately, the biggest piece of advice that I can give is just stay true to you, believe in yourself, because they will make you doubt everything about your whole entire life.
Okay. Okay. So are you doing any aside from this any events this year
Oh
coming
gosh, I
you?
don't I don't know. Okay, so I'm open to it.
Mhm.
I'm very awkward and I don't, it's weird. So that's my challenge for myself. So I'm open to it. I just have to find those outlets that fit me, fit my creative style, and the type of audience that I can relate to. So as of now, no. But if I get offers and as they come in, I have made a commitment to actually take them serious this year. I probably won't get any because every time people invite me out to stuff, I'm like, no. So, but my commitment to myself is to get out there and do better because I'm horrible. When I say horrible at it, it's just not my thing.
Okay, well then this is my charge to you. I would like to extend the invitation to you for, like I say it right, Indie Love New Orleans 2022.
See how you do that?
Um, I will not ask for an answer right now. I just want to extend the invitation to you, um, publicly, so that they can't nobody say, "Well, you didn't ask her." So I did extend the invitation. We are, and by now, I'm not sure how this one is gonna play out, but the majority
Right,
one knows that 2022 we'll be back live. We praying that that is my prayer. My prayer was that we would be live again this year, but
right.
I personally just did not feel comfortable doing a live
Understood.
event, another live event. So I decided to go virtual. And New Orleans was supposed to be our 5-year celebration, and it just
Oh, yay.
kaput thanks to the pandemic. But we'll rock 7 years like it's five in New Orleans. So you think about that, and I will email you the information. And then so now you got a whole. Well, I can't say you have a year because I usually start getting my responses back in October. So you
Well,
got a
see,
couple months to think about it.
I'm gonna tell you, you better go ahead and get your answer now because I will get amnesia. But like, did I say that? No, absolutely. I will make a commitment now to do it because I have to do better. So I'm going to make that commitment to you and that promise that I will be a part of it, Lord willing.
All
And if
right.
everything plays out on both of our ends, I will be there.
Okay. And trust this circle of women that come are like amazing, amazing. I recently did an article with Shout Out LA, and the best way that I described it was we are boutique style.
Hmm.
There is just this energy. It's like I've heard the term. It's like a family reunion. It's the same way.
Uh,
Um, not I get new people. Of course, we get new people because we have new authors and they're following. But it is such an intimate, loving atmosphere that I think you would have a great.
yeah.
Not to toot
Well,
my own horn, but I think you would have a great
toot it, girl.
experience.
No, that's absolutely amazing. That's great. And I have to walk into it with kid gloves, and that sounds like the perfect environment. So I'm there.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time. Like I told you in our correspondence, I am a fan. I don't know.
Yay.
I know what's on my TBR to read next. And it just left me. Jesus Christ. But it's on my TBR list. At any time you have something new coming out and I missed it, please feel free to let me know and say, Josh, you didn't, not promote this for me. I have a new book coming out, and I will
Yeah.
definitely promote it across my social media. So again, I thank you so much for coming and spending this time and with our little intimate conversation.
Yay. Well, I appreciate you having me and I appreciate your support. I've been seeing it, it's out there, and I wholeheartedly appreciate every little thing because it all matters and it all counts and it brings in, a new audience. And so I'm appreciative and I absolutely love the fact that you reached out and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, ladies and maybe some gentlemen that participated,
Maybe.
stick around. We will be back with our next panel discussion, I'm sure. So you all hold on just a few seconds and we'll be right back.